Welcome to Nick Saban Junior Sports Talk TV. Thank y'all for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to the channel. But today, we're here to talk about this Georgia versus Tennessee Volunteers game. Will the Tennessee Volunteers upset the Georgia Bulldogs in Neyland Stadium, one of the hardest atmospheres in college football to play? So, before we get started, how y'all doing this afternoon?
Doing good.
Shane Pate? How you doing, man? Well, TriStar, I'm going to ask you, how is y'all feeling about Tennessee? How did you feel about last week's game, man?
Me or are you asking me or are you asking him?
I'm asking you, TriStar.
No, I don't hear. Oh, okay. Well, anyways, yeah, George, man, I can't hear you. I don't know if Junior can either. But anyways, um, yeah, last week, that happened. It is what it is. I mean, Missouri is a great team this year. That Cody Schrader kid, that number 7. That guy, I don't know where in the hell old Eli Drink Piss found that guy, but apparently the story is that he was at, I think, like at Truman State, some Division II school.
Yeah.
He was not even rated as a recruit coming out of high school. Not even rated on any recruiting board or anything. Was a nobody. And the only way Cody Schrader ended up at Missouri was on the fact that Eli Drink Piss and a booster went out to dinner. And it was something to the effect of, hey, there's this kid at Truman State. You need to look at him. He's really good. He's a running back. And sure enough, they got him, and he had over 300 total all-purpose yards on us. And he had the game of his life. But at the same time, he kind of did that with Georgia too. I mean, they gave Georgia fits.
He had a little over 100 yards against us.
Yeah. And the thing that's hurt Tennessee now, and especially this season, that didn't hurt us last year, was we have been just completely depleted by injuries this year. Brew McCoy went out in the South Carolina game. Now we got Dante Thornton out for the remainder of the season. Arian Carter, the freshman starting linebackers, out. Keenan Peely, who's the transfer. He was supposed to be kind of that veteran guy in the linebacking room. He's out for the year. Kamal Haddon, the leading cornerback, out for the year. Just really banged up. And the problem is that Tennessee just doesn't have the talent down in the third string level right now that, say, a Georgia or Alabama does right now. That just takes time with recruiting and depth. And that's where it's really kind of bit us in the rear end this year, because you look at the games we lost. Now granted, in the last 2 years, Tennessee is 18-5. All 5 losses have been on the road. They have not lost at home since the Georgia game in 2021. That was our last home loss. And if you notice, Tennessee tends to be a very different team at home. Like, yeah, they might play horrible at Florida or whatever, but I think Florida at this point is just a mental thing. Going to Gainesville, I don't know it, and Florida got up for it. Alabama, we actually got ahead on them and got ahead pretty convincingly, but then we just kind of took our foot off the gas, and Jalen Milroe started hitting deep shots that he wasn't hitting in the first half, and that's how they came back. And basically, Missouri did the same thing Florida did. They just controlled the line of scrimmage, I think one drive they burned like 13 minutes off the clock in the first quarter.
So let me ask you this: coming into this game, how confident are you in your Tennessee Volunteers coming into this game?
I mean, I'll put it like this: anything can happen. Do I honestly, deep down, personally think Tennessee's going to win this game? No, I think we're too depleted. I think we're too beat up. Georgia's starting to really hit their stride. I know it's at Neyland. I know how loud and crazy that environment gets. And by the way, they were lying about the crowd noise at Sanford last year, because there was a video going around where this person had their Apple Watch out with a decibel reader and is only saying 99, but that's still loud. I mean, but beside the point, I mean, now it looks like Brock Bowers is back and it looks like he's not missing a step. Of course, my personal friend, Lad McConkey, who grew up 10 minutes from me. And here's a little funny story. Lad McConkey's dad, for years, has been a Tennessee season ticket holder.
Wow, didn't know that.
Yeah.
His family was a Tennessee ball family.
Oh, yeah, for years.
Tennessee didn't offer him.
No, that was back Jeremy Pruitt's last year in 2020. His dad, his football coach there at North Murray High School, everybody was sending tape or trying to get Pruitt just to look at him. Like, dude, get this kid out of camp. Because a lot of people don't understand, Lad McConkey was literally one day away from going to UTC until Todd Monken convinced Kirby to give him an offer or get him to a camp or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because if you look at his offers, you'll see Georgia, Vanderbilt, then it's like UTC, Georgia Southern, Jacksonville State, all your smaller level schools.
And now he's one of the biggest big time receivers in the game. I mean, look what he clutch. I mean, Lad is clutch. I can't say enough good things about him.
And such a humble dude. I love that guy.
Yeah. Clutch.
And what's funny is people tell me, well, no, now he's a Georgia fan now. I'm like, no, he's still a diehard Tennessee fan. He always will be. I mean, he likes Georgia in the fact of, that's the team he's on, and they're the one that gave him this opportunity. But I can tell you right now, he bleeds orange. And he always will. But again, another guy. I know we're kind of, it's about Tennessee Georgia game, but kind of same tangent. Guy, junior, about very well, Jahmyr Gibbs. Grew up 15 minutes from him in Dalton. The guy who taught him how to be a running back when he was a kid was Gerald Riggs Jr., who was a running back at Tennessee, who's currently an assistant coach at Cleveland High School there in Tennessee where I live.
Wow.
Taught him how to be a running back. And Jeremy Pruitt wanted to bring him up there to be a cornerback.
That was smart.
Yeah. Old cornbread. Yeah.
So Shane Pate, y'all just beat the brakes off Ole Miss last week. How you felt about that, and how you feel about coming into this game?
Well, I mean, as far as the Ole Miss game, this is the second time this season that I felt like our players got up for a game and actually played to the standard that we've had the last couple of years. And it just seemed, and we talked about this before, I just felt like this team just was kind of mo-humming and hump-humming around with certain teams, just not lighting the fire, getting it going for them. They did come in, there's a lot of excitement about the game. It's a night game in Athens, so they came in there and they was hitting on all cylinders. This game right here, I'm a little nervous about it. For just being a football fan, when you see a team that takes a loss like Tennessee lost last week in Missouri, and you get a chance to play the number one team in the country, at your stadium, and if Tennessee were to pull off an upset, that to save his season, man. That's kind of that's early Christmas present. I mean, you salvage. You can. I'm not saying you can forget about those losses, but you can actually beat your chest a little bit, right? I mean, so
like we're the one team to beat them in the last however many years,
right? So I mean, yeah, I'm not. I mean, if you look at the paper and X's and O's and Jimmy's and Joe's, we shouldn't have no problem beating Tennessee up in Knoxville, But I mean, the emotion part, right? How fired up is Tennessee going to come out and play, And so it's really imperative that Georgia comes out and takes the crowd out of the stadium really early, And if Georgia can do that, if we can come out and score as fast as we did on – now, listen, I think Tennessee's defense is better than Ole Miss, all right? So, I mean, But if Georgia can come out and be productive offensively early, get some points on the board, stifle them a little bit, slow them down a little bit. One thing Tennessee does really well is they play open. Your linebackers are kind of on an island because they spread everybody out, right? And they run up tempo, and so that's a problem, right? So your linebackers have to be gap discipline. I mean, your line has to have gap discipline. Your linebackers have to stay in their lanes. They have to fit very well because a lot of times they're on their island. They're double blocked. So Tennessee does a real good job of spreading everybody out. So Georgia's going to have to set the edge, and that's why Tennessee's been able to run on some people and get some yards because I mean, you know what I'm saying? They do a good job of spreading everybody out, right? So they take, we've been a good job of stopping people from running upside. We're going to give up some yards on the inside, probably a little more than we've given up in the past few games. So it's just about, linebackers. Our linebackers are key in this game, but how much pressure can we put on Joe Milton, right? And can we just affect him a little bit like Alabama did in the second half of that game? Just kind of, where he's hearing footsteps, you know what I mean? So, but, any game, turnovers can happen, penalties come into play. But I think it's going to be a ruckus crowd. I did see a lot of Georgia fans complaining that normally we get like 10,000 tickets, and I think Tennessee cut them down to 5,000 tickets they were offering. So,
which granted, that game's been sold out even before the season started. So
it may have, but I mean, I'm just saying that that was some of the complaints I've been reading on some of the posts. But Kirby said we didn't have a good day in practice Tuesday, so I don't know what our practice was today or what it's going to be tomorrow. But he wasn't happy. But Kirby uses a lot of psychological shit too. You know what I'm saying? To try to
I wouldn't read into that because again, you had Nolan Smith at the draft this past season saying, everybody thought we was going 7-5. I mean, he's a master manipulator. That's what Kirby is. He's a master manipulator, and he can convince them that there's a sniper out there about to shoot them, and there's not even anybody out there.
Yeah, he can get them going. That's for one thing. So
he's so good at manipulating. He could sell a pack of cigarettes to a lung cancer patient.
Yeah, yeah, that's what he does. He uses psychological, advantage on the players. He don't want them feeling. And I'll tell you right, that ranking came out. That ranking came out that day, and I guess that was that evening, wasn't it?
It was Tuesday evening.
Yeah, I guess he felt like everybody was saying that Georgia's going to jump Ohio State, so that's what Kirby did to kind of combat that rat poison a little bit. He told them that they had lousy practice.
Hey,
which
rat poison, I think y'all got to find some else to use, bro.
well, here's the thing. When it comes to that was a great phrase by Saban, though, rat poison. But he's not wrong. It's basically all the media, pumping things up like, oh, this could be that or whatever. Again, basically he's trying to tell the players and the fans, don't listen to what the media says. And just because Kirby said, oh, well, practice didn't go good on Tuesday, he could just be saying that. Because, again, Kirby's one of those guys. He's almost like the Mike Leach of defensive guys. And what I mean by that is back in 1999 and going into the Oklahoma-Texas game, Mike Leach took the play sheet, or what was supposed to be, I guess, their play sheet, and put it under a Texas staff guy's door. And the Texas guy's like, oh, man, look, we got their plays. We'll beat the hell out of them. Well, it turned out those are not even the plays they're even going to use.
Yeah. Mike Leach was a character, man. He was a pirate. He would say anything, anytime.
Yeah.
I hated that he died of a massive heart attack like that.
Yeah. And speaking of that, Zach Arnett, like I said, I know we're kind of I'm going off on a tangent here, but I hated that for Zach Arnett because, there was nothing he could do.
Yeah.
My thing about that was when I got it and I heard it, I'm like, Mississippi State. What are y'all looking for exactly? Like, because for one, this is his first year, hasn't even been there a full year, and you fire him. But
Exactly.
Mississippi State, you really have not done anything since my lifetime. So
The last time that Mississippi State was even halfway worth anything was when they had Dak Prescott.
Yes. And I think the last time before that was like in 90, was it 98?
Yeah, 98 they played Tennessee in the SEC Championship.
Yeah. So I'm like, this is what y'all are. So even with the 12-team playoff, y'all ain't going to even make the 12-team playoff. So what exactly are you looking for?
Don't be, I know it's comical, but don't be surprised if they don't offer Dan Mullen again.
Oh, I'm sure they will, but I'll tell you this. I'm sorry, y'all might think it's funny, but when I think of Mississippi State, I think of two people: Dak Prescott and Jerry Clower.
Damn.
Well, they had a good coach back in the day, and he won them some bowl games.
And for y'all that's watching, if you don't know, Jerry Clower, he was a comedian for years. He was hilarious. I love that guy.
So y'all, let's get into it. Let's
get back to it.
My man Van Alex asked me, what would it take for Tennessee to beat Georgia? But Trust Star, I'm gonna ask you, what will it take for Tennessee to beat Georgia?
No turnovers. The offensive line would have to play the best game that they played all year. The crowd would have to be into it. Tyler Barron and James Pierce would have to get home off the edge. Joe Milton would not have to. He would basically need to not make any mental mistakes. He's been getting better since that Alabama game about hitting guys in stride and stuff like that, but sometimes he still has the mental lapses, and we're just kind of getting through it with him this year, and we got Nico next year, and all will be fixed. But basically, he just have to, basically just play kind of how he did in that first half of the Alabama game. I think if he comes out like he did in that first half against Alabama, I think we have a really good shot. And we have to try, at least attempt to establish the run. I know since Kirby's been there, that's been Kirby's whole MO is stopping the run. And I think if we can establish the run somewhat and get them thinking about Jalen Wright or Dylan Sampson, and please, for the love of God, put Dylan Sampson on the field more. I've noticed the games where we lost convenient. Because if you look, the 2 of the 3 games that we lost at Florida and at Missouri, in the Florida game, Dylan Sampson was not even on the field. I don't know if he pissed somebody off or he got in a fight or what. I don't know. But he did not see the field against Florida, which made no sense. And plus, you look at Florida as the seasons went on, you're like, why in the hell did you lose to that team? That team's horrible. Yeah. And then Alabama, he's seen the field some, but again, that's Alabama, and they've been really good this year. But at Missouri, he wasn't on the field that much. So I want to see Dylan Sampson out there because he's one of those electric guys. He's the best running back I've seen at Tennessee since Alvin Kamara. Yeah. And I think he could be that Alvin Kamara guy, use him in the passing game. You don't just have to line up and run it with him, but use it in the pass game and get pressure on Carson Beck. Because the thing is, with Georgia's running backs, they're okay. I mean, they're not like DeAndre Swift or Todd Gurley or Nick Marshall or Nick Chubb or any of those guys. I mean, they're serviceable. But to me, I think if Pierce and Barron can affect Carson Beck and get to him and cause him to be rattled, because correct me if I'm wrong, that last actual road game was at Auburn, right? That was y'all's last road game. I know y'all played at Vandy, but Vandy's basically a home game for everybody. And of course, Florida's in Jacksonville every year. So y'all's last at.
You may be right.
And
yeah.
So, and I'm willing to bet this will be a much tougher road environment than Auburn. And listen, nothing against the fine people in Lee County, Alabama, But a lot of times, as we like to say, there's a damn Indian burial ground under that stadium. But Neyland Stadium, it's, in my opinion, the loudest, toughest road environment in the SEC, especially when Tennessee's good. When Tennessee's bad, it don't make a difference. But if Tennessee's good, that crowd can make a huge difference.
I think our running backs are a little bit better than what you think they are. It's because we're throwing the ball more. And so you're not seeing the production numbers. Juwan Edwards, number 30, is an absolute beast. He's a beast.
Dejon Edwards.
He's an actual he's a beast.
Drug test him now.
The Milton is just really coming off injuries, and so he's starting to hit his stride. So you're getting this at probably the worst time of the season with him, in concern to how he's been playing. But Georgia has been more, we're throwing the ball more,
Right.
And so we're using the run. Kirby's never going to go away from the run, but we're using the run more, less than what we have. I don't know that Tennessee can stop Brock Bowers. I'm just going to be honest with you.
I don't know if there's anybody that can stop Brock Bowers.
Facts. That's fact.
That guy, listen, for people, just in case if there are anybody watching this video, which I highly doubt that watches this in the future, if you want to see Brock Bowers, the textbook example of why he might be one of the greatest players I've ever seen, just a physical freak, go watch that Auburn game this year in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
There was times, it was literally, Carson Beck was like, just look for 19. Just throw it to him. And he made this one catch behind his head one-handed.
Yeah, he was
with two guys around him. And I'm like, that's the damnedest thing I've ever seen.
Hey, TriStar, I was telling people, I said, man, it's sometimes you just want to double team them. They'll be like, you double team, you're going to leave somebody open. I said, shit.
And that's the thing. Everybody said Auburn stopped defending him. I'm like, no, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Brock Bowers finally just stopped dicking around.
And I meant triple team them. They were like, well, somebody be wide open. I said, I'd take my chances with leaving them wide open, and goddamn Brock Bowers just destroying me like that, bro.
If you leave them wide open, then you got the Lab McConkey show.
I'd take it, goddamn
it. Tennessee's going to play us hard. I know that, and the crowd's going, like I said, when you get down to nuts and bolts, though, this offense is rolling, man. It really is. I mean, it really is one of the best in the country. And it may be, his numbers may, Beck's, when it's all said and done this year, offensively, we may be better than we were last year under Stetson Bennett. So, yeah, I mean, can you get pressure on Beck? That's where everything starts, at the line of scrimmage, right? Georgia's offensive line is one of the best in the country. And we prior to the Missouri game, we'd only give up 6 sacks. So we've only given up 9 sacks on the season. Ole Miss came in with the best sack production numbers in the SEC and didn't even touch them. So, yeah, if Beck sits in the pocket and he's got a quick release anyway, he sits in the pocket, he will cut you up. He will slice and dice Tennessee to pieces.
Oh, yeah.
If Tennessee doesn't get a pass rush. And so defensively, we can probably limit your possessions by half, because that's how good we are defensively. So it gets to the point, if Georgia jumps out there and is just moving down the field at ease, then Tennessee's got to try to catch up. I don't know that Tennessee can catch up.
Right. Yeah, just with how banged up we are, and the fact that Milton is not one of those quarterbacks like a Hendon that can just put a team on his back and carry him. He's just not one of those guys. And listen, that's nothing against Joe Milton. He's just not one of those type of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like a Bryce Young or a Hendon, or I would maybe even argue a Stetson, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Stetson doesn't fit he doesn't check the box as what you expect from an elite quarterback. But look what he did.
Yeah,
That's
You
true.
know, you know, I mean,
He won 2 national titles
and MVP at all those postseason games. You know what I mean? He got that. You can't take that from him. You know. Listen, I'm pleasantly surprised with Carson Beck. I was worried about Carson Beck because I didn't know if he was just too slow in the pocket. I was worried that he was going to hold on to the ball too long. But man, I tell you, man, I have all the confidence in the world in Carson Beck now. He's made me a believer. And the kid doesn't seem to get rattled any. So he stays pretty calm. And he's been tested. Listen, when he got down to South Carolina, got down to Auburn, Missouri, you know, had a tough game with Missouri. He's been tested. You know, this Georgia team has a lot of resolve. And they're going to need it going into a hostile Tennessee stadium. So, but, you know, anything can happen on any given Saturday.
Yep.
But if Georgia plays Georgia football, I'm not going to say they're going to blow them out 52-17 like they did against Ole Miss. I understand that. I do believe Tennessee's defense is significantly better than Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But if Georgia comes out and plays and just was workmanlike, just in discipline, and we've been a really disciplined team this year. We haven't had a lot of mistakes. We haven't caused a lot of problems for ourselves. We had some pass interference and stuff like that, but we hadn't had a whole, just like, you know, we've been pretty disciplined this season. If we come out there and we just play standard football that we've been playing, I think we get the dub. I think we leave 11-0 and you know, and we get ready for Georgia Tech. And but I hope our players are not looking ahead to Atlanta. That can also be a distraction with Alabama in 2 weeks. But listen, I got respect for Tennessee. I think Tennessee's gonna come in there swinging. It's how fast can we take Tennessee out of the game? Now, if we let Tennessee hang around, the crowd gets in there, and Tennessee starts feeling themselves, then the ball game, that's a different ball game. That's a totally different ball game.
And so, see, that's what I want to ask you too, TriStar. Like, y'all offense. Y'all know y'all like to spread it up, go fast. And with y'all running backs, I feel like y'all gonna be able to attack the perimeter on Georgia. How do you feel about your offensive versus Georgia defense?
Well, again, it's kind of a what version are we going to get? Because Tennessee's problem this year, like I said, not just being banged up and having a lot of key injuries. It's been can we get a rhythm going? Because if you look at, like I said, really I'm not really going to count the Alabama game because that was more Alabama just finally woke up and came back. But if you look at Florida and Missouri, how we lost those games, it's like the offense just couldn't really get into a rhythm.
Yeah.
But a lot of that, too, at the same time, when it was, the reason I say it's very similar to the Florida game was the fact that Florida and Missouri kept converting on third down. We could not get off the field on third down. Our third down defense this year has not been that great. I know, like, we've had great sacks and, great sack numbers, tackles for loss numbers, all that stuff. And I really like our linebackers and defensive line. But we've had a problem all year on getting off the field on third down.
Missouri, people can laugh all they want to. Mizzou right now, the way they're playing, it's going to give anybody a fight. Alabama. If Mizzou were to play Alabama, Alabama will be battle tested again. They had to pull one at their ass. Mizzou's playing good football right now.
Which in my opinion, they shouldn't even be in the conference. But that's a different topic for a different day.
Yeah, that's over our pay grade right there. But I mean, they've been in since 2012. Yeah, so. But I think Mizzou's playing really good football. I think they're on there. I think they're going to win the next 2 games and win themselves a New Year's Six bowl game. Have one of the best seasons they had in a long time. But they're stout, man. They got a good defense, got a good quarterback, and got good receivers, man. And They definitely was a challenge to us, and we played them at home, and they fought us tooth and nail, you know. So I respect Missouri. I think they got a squad. I think they got a solid squad.
Right.
So,
Eric,
what happened?
I think there he goes. What's that
Go
comment?
Go.
Eric D got a comment. Motivated, dedicated. Is that y'all team in trouble on December 2nd?
man, they've been fighting all day. They've been fighting in the chat.
Man.
Well, see, here's the thing. This eventually was bound to happen because, I remember when I was a kid, Tennessee, dominated Georgia for like a decade.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, y'all been 8 years in a row.
Almost 10 years in a row. And then from then, of course, during the Three Mikes era of Alabama, that was almost a guaranteed win for Tennessee. Our bugaboo was Florida.
Yeah.
So I guess it was bound to happen. But here's a little tidbit of history. Did you know from 1937 to 1968, Tennessee and Georgia did not play one time?
God dang.
Yeah. We didn't. It's not a historic rival like that. Yeah, but we played you in the 70s and in the 80s and
yeah,
90s, of course.
Well, which again, it made no sense. See, because we played, Georgia Tech every year. We played Auburn every year. We played Ole Miss every year. We played Alabama every year. Vandy and Kentucky every year. We didn't play LSU. Like LSU, I could kind of understand that's kind of far away, but Georgia's not that far away, and you played Tech every year. So
I think in this new module, which could change, I think our 3 regular games is going to be Florida, Auburn, and Tennessee. I think so. I think we're going to keep playing you every year.
Maybe, or it's either going to be Tennessee because Tennessee's is going to be Alabama, Vanderbilt, Kentucky.
Yeah, probably that. Yeah. Or yeah, you may. I thought it's Auburn, Florida. I thought we kept. No, you're right. It's not. It's ours is Auburn, Florida, and Kentucky. It's not.
No,
so we dropped.
It would probably be South Carolina.
No, we dropped South Carolina on this one that they came out. The SEC came out with a couple months ago. We dropped South Carolina.
Okay, well maybe it's that year, but because I was kind of thinking of it, but
yeah, we don't. Next year we don't play South Carolina. We do play Tennessee, I think, but not South Carolina.
If I had my way, South Carolina would be in the ACC.
Yeah,
we'll bring back Georgia Tech. We'll bring them back.
He's at Georgia Tech. Hey, you be pulling for that Georgia Tech and Tulane, don't you, man?
Yeah.
Well, I came around on Tulane. Nah, they don't have a big stadium. I said Georgia Tech and Florida State. Kick out Arkansas, kick out A&M, kick out Mizzou, kick out South Carolina. I mean, because think about it. People's like, well, why would you do that? I said, well, Florida State, they're in the Panhandle. They got a huge fan base. They're 2 hours away from Auburn.
So you're not happy about Oklahoma and Texas coming in, are you?
Oh, hell no. Because, again, we're called the Southeastern Conference. I didn't know it was called the Southeast plus the Great Plains.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like people's like, you don't like Missouri in the conference? I'm like, hell no, they're a bunch of Yankees. I don't want them in here. We're in the South.
Yeah. It's all about the money, man. All about the Benjamins.
Unfortunately, yeah, sadly.
So, Shane Pate, how does this Georgia defense shut down this Tennessee offense?
Yeah, you got to get back to you got to put hands on Milton. I think Kirby's going to have he's going to scheme some blitz. We're going to get back there and affect them, rattle them. And like I was saying earlier, Tennessee does a good job at spreading everybody out. So, we got to be guys. Got to be disciplined. They got to stay in the lanes. They got to wrap up and tackle. Get off blocks.
And see, that's my thing. This is my thing too with Tennessee going in this game. Hey, Tennessee, y'all at home. Do what y'all do best. Spread them out. Go fast. and let's get this crowd into it, and hopefully y'all can get some momentum off of that. They got young linebackers out there right now. The mofo's good though, but you know what I'm saying. This is time. I think. Well, I'm gonna say Tennessee should try to get something going in the run game, like you said. I'm gonna just say that. Try to get something going in the run game. And TriStar, do you seeing more quarterback run designs with Joe Milton, knowing that that's how Auburn kind of kept it close, and that's, you know what I'm saying?
I think that I'm sure Heupel and them probably will take some inspirations from that Auburn Georgia game in what words, and try to apply some of that. But I don't know if they apply all of it.
Really, one quarterback run for Auburn. It was a busted play that Pate got around on the edge. He just made a guy miss and went down. You know, so that Auburn didn't just run the ball with a quarterback on us. That one play, he had 80 yards, I think, on that one play. 60 or between 60. I can't remember what his average was on that one play, but back to that Alabama game, if Milton doesn't get that ankle tackle, he runs into the end zone. He makes it a 7-point game going into the fourth quarter. And that's how close that game was. And then, of course, Alabama got the strip sack, and it made it a 14-point game instead of a 7-point game. But y'all was that close.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like that first. See what cost us in that Alabama game. I think not necessarily the second half comeback, but what cost us in that game was when we were moving the ball. And this has been another issue with Tennessee this year, has been red zone offense. We are horrible at scoring touchdowns in the red zone. We've been bad this year with that. Whereas last year we were amongst one of the best in the nation at scoring touchdowns in the red zone. This year, I don't know if it's quarterback decision making or what. I don't know, but we've just taken a pretty good sized step back in the red zone in terms of scoring touchdowns. Because you go look at so many games where Tennessee get in the red zone, more often than not, there's ending in field goals and not touchdowns. Mm-hmm. And if you want to win these big games, you know, especially like at Alabama, because think about it, if they do that, instead of being 20-7, it's 28-7.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you're talking, you know, hey, they came out and they did that at Alabama. Jesus.
Yeah.
Tennessee had some opportunities. They just kind of crapped on themselves several times.
They pissed down their leg, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like everybody's kind of writing off, you know, Heupel and stuff. Like, oh, he's a bad coach. You know, there's already some Tennessee fans like talking about, well, you know, he's just never going to get it done. I'm like, he'll get it done. You just got to give him time. Your
guy got a question on here. What do you expect Tennessee and Georgia?
That's what I'm coming with next.
From a Georgia aspect, next year is going to be brutal. That schedule is brutal. We open up against Clemson. We go to Texas. We go to Tuscaloosa. I don't know what to expect from Georgia because I don't know who's going to be the quarterback. Beck may go. I mean, you know, I think he could stay. I think he may. Is Beck a senior?
I think so.
I know, but he has eligibility though.
I think he's got a COVID year.
I think he can come back. But if he goes, we're bringing in Dylan. You know, Raiola is going to be competing against the guys that we have here already. Listen, I don't expect Georgia to have a shot at a national championship next year, just because there's so many unknowns. We lose a lot of leadership on that team next year. You got Pate leaving. You're going to have Bowers leaving.
Bowers is gone.
Most likely, unless he decides he wants to pad his numbers, you know, because he missed 2 games. But most likely he's gone. I think it's going to be
we don't know. Honestly, I don't think any team really knows how next year is going to go. I think next year, like people talked about the SEC being a wide open this year. Like, watch next year.
Yeah, next year the schedule for Alabama and Georgia is brutal because
Alabama y'all play each other.
Yeah, but Alabama's got to go to. They got to go to Norman. They got to go to Oklahoma.
So do we.
Oklahoma may be better. Yeah. I mean,
Well, which again, speaking of that, I was thinking that they would have had y'all going to Oklahoma and us playing Texas because of the fact that y'all were supposed to play at Oklahoma this year.
Yeah, we got to go to Texas. Well, I'm gonna try to make that game. I heard Austin's a great part.
Well, so we're talking about that very quick. How do y'all with Quinn Ewers expecting to return next year? How y'all think that works out for Texas next season? Y'all think that's a good thing that'll push Texas in the SEC next year? What's y'all thoughts?
So Quinn Ewers coming back next year?
Yeah, he's highly expected to return.
I think that, of course, that'd be a good thing because now you got a quarterback with two starting years of experience.
Yeah.
So again, and that's something you can't teach.
I don't know enough about Texas and what they're bringing back and what they're losing.
Yeah, they're bringing back a hell of enough.
They're bringing a lot of experience back, and they may be a threat in the SEC next year.
Yeah.
I know Georgia. I know we're losing a lot. I think Bama's losing a lot. I think you guys are losing a lot. Dallas Turner, a lot of them guys are gone.
Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell, they're gone. Who does Alabama lose? Like, is Milroe, is he coming back or is he gone?
Yeah, he definitely coming back.
He's coming back. Which you'll probably see Buckner, Simpson transfer, maybe both of them transfer.
Yeah, our offense is gonna be legit in my book.
Burton be gone.
But Bond, Hale.
Yeah. You got some good young receivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm sure you're thinking about Amari Jefferson. I think Amari Jefferson is going to the baseball.
I believe I believe he coming to Alabama. I believe he coming. Hey, speaking of that, y'all got some Kai Bates and Jordan Seaton gonna be Tennessee this week.
Yeah, in my opinion, Kai Bates, I think he's going to Florida State because it was kind of perfectly timed that he decommitted from LSU when he went to a Florida State game. So that's leaning me to believe. And of course, that could just be a coincidence, but that makes me think he's going to Florida State. It was looking like for a minute he was going to Tennessee. So, I mean, I'm sure.
Because I was about to bring that up. Before he committed to LSU, Tennessee was next up. You know what I'm saying? But,
so, maybe we wow him, and same thing with Jordan Seaton. I still think we get Jordan Seaton. Again, I think it's going to be a battle between a few teams. I forget what his top 5 is. But I think Tennessee has a very good opportunity, especially this weekend. He seems to really like Tennessee, and that would be if we get him, that'd be icing on the cake because our offensive line, in this recruiting class has been great. Like I think a lot of those guys could be like him and Bennett Warren could be first-year starters. I think they're both that good.
Big old boy, Bennett Warren.
That's a big son. As Mama Pat would say, that's a big corn-fed, raw-boned son of a bitch right there.
Is this phase last season?
Who?
Offensive lineman for Tennessee, younger brother.
Darnell Wright.
The younger brother of the Mays that played for Georgia.
Cooper. Yeah. Cooper. I think he can come back if he wants to. I think he's got a COVID year.
Okay.
But that's up to him. I mean, he missed about the first 4 or 5 games of the season, so I think they can convince him and get him the right NIL deal. I think they can get him to come back.
So, hey, TriStar, were you one of the guys that? Because I see a lot of Tennessee fans they're ready to see Nico right now, and I'm like, Georgia game is definitely not.
I am definitely not one of them.
Exactly.
And of course, I keep seeing people saying that, like, oh, well, freshmen play all the time. I'm like, so you want his first start to be against the number 1 team in the nation that's known for defense, and knowing that the offensive line has been kind of inconsistent this year.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, you want to kill his confidence and then ruin his development? No. Listen, let Milton take his licks. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Lest we forget. In again, I know my history. In 1993, Tennessee won 10 games. Should have been 11. I think we had a tie that year. But we had a Heisman finalist quarterback in Heath Schuler. But we had Peyton Manning coming in. And then the next year, he was third string because you had Todd Helton as one of the starting quarterbacks. You had some Colquitt guy, I think is his name. And they didn't start Peyton until later in the year, but they went 8-4 that season. They didn't have a good year. So, again, basically my point is everything's going to be fine. Nico will be starting next year. I can guarantee that. Be patient.
And what you just said, somebody told me the same thing. It was in person. That was like freshman playoff time. I said, if he was a freshman that was ready to play, I said, we would have seen him in the beginning of the season or we would have seen him by now.
Yeah, like you would have seen him probably after the Florida game.
Yes. I said, but now is definitely not the time to put him in there. I said, because it can be a thing where you end up with damaged goods. And you don't want to hurt a talent like he is. You don't want to hurt that company.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, people's like, well, Trevor Lawrence. I'm like, Trevor Lawrence was a once-in-a-generation quarterback.
Yes. And that's what I try to tell people.
I tell people he was probably NFL ready coming out of high school. And again, that pisses me. No, seriously. Like, this dude was the highest-rated quarterback, I think, since Peyton coming out of high school.
Yeah, that's another mark.
Enough because he should have come to Tennessee for God's sake.
Well, no, he should have been recruited by Georgia, but that's another Mark Richt flop right there.
Well, actually, let me explain something to you. His mom and dad's from Knoxville. He was born in Knoxville, and he grew up going to Tennessee games. He was a Tennessee fan as a kid, and I think Georgia did try to recruit him, and I know Tennessee did, but again, Bush Jones screwed that up and screwed up several things, and that's why I like Heupel. They're not letting these things pass, kind of like the thing with Ladd McConkey. The fact that Jeremy Pruitt was sent tons of video and he wouldn't even give Ladd McConkey the time of day.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
Well, again, like I said, this is the same guy that told Jahmyr Gibbs he wanted him to be a cornerback.
Yeah, it was. Look, Mark Richt did it to Deshaun Watson. I remember told him he wanted him to be a tight end.
So who that?
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, told him he wanted to be a tight end.
Crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, it did the same thing with Cam Newton.
Well, again, like I said, you want to piss off a Tennessee fan, put up the picture of Trevor Lawrence wearing the smoky gray jersey. Is that what could have been?
Well, it takes a lot more pieces than just a quarterback. It takes the mentality. Dabo built a good program because he had a good defensive coordinator.
Oh, come on, Lord Dabo, come on, the Taters.
Yeah, people can complain, but he built. He had some good teams. Now I don't know if it's over, if his run is over.
It is.
I'm hearing his name going to Texas A&M, but I doubt it. But I'm hearing that he may be considered to go to Texas A&M.
Who, Dabo?
Yes, sir.
Oh God. Okay, listen to me right now. Texas A&M. If you do that, you'll be wasting your money.
Let me tell you something.
They did already.
How many national championships has Tennessee had in the last few years?
Okay.
Clemson has had.
Okay, Ed Orgeron is a national champion winning head coach. Larry Coker won a national championship.
Yeah, Ed screwed the pooch himself.
What do you think Dabo's doing right now? He screwed himself.
He's having a bad year. He lost some good coordinators. He's having a bad year. And it happens.
But he's not letting Garrett Riley do his job.
And see, this is what I'm about to get at. listen, I don't discredit nothing Dabo has done. I give Dabo a lot of credit.
I'm not a
for what he
Dabo
brought
fan.
Clemson.
I'm not
But
a Dabo fan. I'm just speaking the obvious. I'm just saying, it's a fact.
Oh yeah, but his mindset right now, going forward, moving forward, is what's holding him back.
He's hindering himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of the fact he doesn't believe in the transfer portal. His which I get it. His mindset worked previously. It's the same thing with so many coaches. Look at Philip Fulmer.
Yeah.
Same thing. Dabo is doing the same thing Fulmer did in the mid 2000s. He was coasting off that championship he won. He did not want to get with the times. He wanted to be the guy. He refused to go get an offensive coordinator that would overshine him. Now, I'm talking about Fulmer. Fulmer would not go get he could have went and got Mike Leach in '99. He could have went and got him because he was at Kentucky, but he didn't. He made. Listen, I love Randy Sanders as a good person. He's an East Tennessee guy, but Dabo's doing a lot of the same things that Fulmer did.
Was Leach on the sideline on the famous LSU Kentucky game? Was he on the sideline of that game?
No, that he was already at Texas Tech by that point.
Okay. The Bluegrass Miracle is what I'm talking about. Well, that's a hell of a damn.
Yeah, that was a crazy finish.
You ever watch that one, Nick? The Bluegrass Miracle? You pull that up on YouTube?
Oh my goodness! Touchdown LSU! They won the game.
That's some wild shit, man.
That absolutely was, and again,
classic.
And here's my thing too. What Dabo does that has always pissed me off is how he recruits, and the fact of if you have to be like all in, you can't take any other visits and stuff like that. And I can tell, and listen, what's your name, bud?
Shane.
Okay, I keep bringing my cousin's husband played at Tennessee from 2013 to 2016, and he was his backup offensive line, but he was a borderline 5-star coming out of high school. His name's Austin Sanders. He played at Bradley Central High School. Well, in 2012 or 2011, he took a visit to Clemson. And Dabo showed him around the campus. Dabo himself did. He said, he's a super nice guy. He went to his house, and his wife cooked him dinner and all that stuff. And he told me everything. And he said he's walking around the indoor practice facility there at Clemson. And he looks in the corner and sees this big metal tank filled with water. He thought it was like an ice bath. It looks like an ice bath tank. He said, Dabo, what's that over there? He said, it's my baptism tank. And he's like, for what? He's like, and then Dabo's exact words were, just in case if the Holy Spirit comes calling. Then he starts trying to preach to him. He goes from talking about football to giving him the Sermon on the Mount, which again, I'm a man of faith. I'm a Christian man myself, but he comes off disingenuous.
Yeah.
But I mean,
well, yeah, right. You both of you guys are right. I mean, about Dabo in the media this past year, he is hurting himself with his comments,
And not only that, the fact is not just this year. You can go back many times throughout the years he's been at Clemson, and if a fan, he takes criticism.
He don't take
he takes criticism about as well as milk out in the open. Like, he does not take it at all. Like, he'll have and this is going back years. Like, say Clemson didn't do something good, like, y'all should have ran the ball more, or whatever. Just any kind of critique. You'll say, well, if they don't like the way I'm doing things, I guess they just need to fire me.
Well, Dabo is getting that time.
Well, I don't know if Clemson's going to fire him this year.
No.
But I think part of Dabo's problem, away from the stupid comments to the media, is that he just hadn't went and got the right. He had those two stud quarterbacks. He had Deshaun and he had Trevor, but he hadn't been able to get that quarterback that he needs, and he's missing out on the recruit. He's losing to Alabama. He's losing to Georgia. He's losing to Michigan. Losing to Ohio State.
Tennessee.
You know what I'm saying? He's not been able to break that top echelon in recruiting.
I mean, for example, Mike Matthews. Mike Matthews 5 years ago would have went to Clemson.
Yeah.
Nico probably would have went to Clemson. They're not going to get any kind of big-time recruits anytime soon or in the future until Dabo gets his head out of his ass and realize I have to get with the times.
Yeah. Well,
what worked in 2015, 2016 is not going to work today because the game's always changing. Like what worked in the 90s and 2000s will not work today. You have to work with what I mean. That's one thing about Nick Saban. Does Nick Saban like NIL and the transfer portal and all that stuff? No.
But he adapts with the changes.
He holds his nose and he does it. And that's why you have to
and that's my thing with Dabo.
Give the man praise.
He's gonna have to adjust with times. I understand you don't like this crowd, but god dang it, if you want to be anywhere in the top, continue to be talked about as one of the good coaches, you're gonna have to change your way of thinking. It's just plain and simple.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Kirby will tell you that it changes every year.
And I'm glad you brought that up too, because Kirby had to do it at Georgia. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He had to change the way things go. And look,
he had to go get an offensive coordinator that was worth a shit.
I'm gonna tell you where that changed at in 2019 when we got boat raced by LSU in the SEC championship game. Kirby Smart said, "Dan, we're changing. We're not going to give up the run, but we're going to a more spread type of offense where we can." And that's where he went and got Monken. And look, that decision to hire Monken got him 2 national titles. You know,
exactly.
Yeah, facts.
And but a lot of Georgia fans were all over Facebook. A lot of my friends, you know, they were bitching and crying and whining because
about Mike Bobo.
Mike Bobo. But Mike Bobo had a year under Todd Monken as an analyst. And Monken even told, you know, he said this several times that, look, Mike Bobo, you know, I'm taking credit for some of the play calling. And Mike Bobo schemed some of this stuff up. You know, it's not always me. You know, I've got several guys working, and Mike Bobo was right there in a lot of that decision making on top of offenses we were running.
Well, here's the thing though about Mike Bobo. For people that maybe don't know the history, Georgia fans and Mike Bobo have a very checkered past. He played football there at Georgia in the 90s. He was teammates with Kirby. But the thing is every time Georgia would lose a game back then, they wanted to chuck Mike Bobo in the damn Savannah River.
There was some games with Mike Bobo. Bobo was, you know, he took over. You know, Mark Richt used to be the play caller. You know, a lot of people don't know that. Mark Richt was calling the plays from 2001 to about 2005. Then he finally decides to let Mike Bobo start calling plays in 2006. So, you know, there was some plays where you if you talk to enough Georgia fans, you know, it's Mike Bobo up the middle,
Third and Bobo,
yeah, and some of it, you know, but still, you know, you like Mike Bobo was there from calling plays from 06, I think 14 or 15. I think it was 14. I think it was 14 maybe. Yeah, 14. And he had some real production. He was at several years. He averaged 45 a game. You know, he had good production. You can't blame it all on Mike on the offense when the problem was we just stomped on defense. You know, we had horrible defensive coordinators. Ty Grantham was somewhat a step up, but I mean, you know, we just didn't have it defensively. And so it didn't matter. It didn't matter if you could put 45 points on the board when you give up 40 something points.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
I ain't gonna lie. When Ty Grantham name came up in our for defensive coordinator, I was not excited about that. I said, bro, if we don't stay away from Ty Grantham, bro.
And it used to be old Third and Grantham too.
Yeah, I remember that crap.
Can't get off the field. Can't get off the field. You know. Hey man, I lived it, bro. I mean, I've been a Georgia fan all my life. I remember being a young Georgia fan. You know, of course, I'm 49 years old, and I've seen a lot. But listen, you know, Mark Richt days was a blessing compared to what we had when we had Ray Goof. You know, and going down to losing to Florida 50-something points to 7. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just getting slaughtered by Florida, slaughtered by everybody. You know.
Probably Ray Goff's finest moment was in that 93 game against Georgia Tech.
92 season was his best year. That was the best Georgia team. We lost a close game to Tennessee, and lost a game to Florida we shouldn't have lost. And if that would have happened, hell, we would have been out. Now Alabama had a squad. I mean, I don't think that.
Yeah, that squad was. I don't
think Garrison Hurst and them guys could have been able to. I don't think we were dynamic enough on offense to be able to beat Alabama that year, because we were a run team. You know, and Garrison Hurst had a hell of a year that year. He was a finalist for the Heisman.
Garrison Hurst was a dog, bro.
He was a dog, and that was a hell of a year.
And that's the thing, I feel like a lot of Alabama fans have forgotten that 92 team.
Yeah, that 92 team was something else.
As a matter of fact, I think that 92 team still holds a lot of Alabama defensive records.
Copeland and Curry, those two bookends, boy, you wasn't running the ball.
Like that, to me, that should have been unfair. Like, how in the hell you get both of them? Like, that team was different, bro. That team was different, man.
Never will forget them giving the Heisman to that Miami quarterback. And then
Gino Torretta.
And Alabama just beat the brakes off of them in the Sugar Bowl. That was classic. You know, that was a classic football game. Of course.
Well, I'll tell you this: the best way to describe that Alabama defense of '92, Keith Jackson was calling the Tennessee-Alabama game Thursday in October that year, and at the beginning, he talks about this defense plays like it's a sin to allow anyone to score a point.
That's crazy.
And that was a fact. Like, they acted like their mother was going to die if they allowed 2 yards, you know. But again, that 92 Alabama team is, you know, to me, in my opinion, especially from a defensive standpoint, their best team. Like, everyone talks about 2009 or 2011, but I don't think they held a candle to that 92 team.
Yeah, that was a good team, and I don't know that we would have been able to beat that team, but Eric Zaire had a hell of a year that year. Eric Zaire was a good quarterback. You know,
we had Heath Schuler.
Yeah, I mean, that 92 team was good. We just, like I said, lost that Tennessee loss was part of that 8-year winning streak y'all had over us. That Jim Donnan broke up in Athens. We beat y'all, and they tore down the goalposts. And then Mark Richt was and I have it right here. I'll never forget the famous. If you can, I don't know if you can see it, but
yeah,
Vernon boot. You know,
Vernon Haynes.
Yeah,
whose son plays at Alabama now.
Hey, TriStar.
Yeah.
If you ever need some Tennessee memorabilia, hey, this the guy right here, man. Just let me know if you ever need to purchase some Tennessee stuff.
I sell framed artwork, sports artwork on the side, and some figurines. I used to carry a lot of figurines, but the company started licensing and got stupid, and then the containers that come from where they made in China started going from $6,000 to a container to like 20-something thousand. So a lot of companies have went out of business. But yeah.
And then for anybody in chat, if y'all need any Georgia, any Alabama printed artwork or whatever,
yeah, I'm your man.
No, and I will put you in contact.
Yeah, I'm your
apologize about that. I got a phone call, but anyways, I'll probably go ahead.
I was about to say, real quick, score predictions, and we can get out of here, y'all. TriStar, what's your score prediction for this game?
I'm just gonna be honest. I think Georgia wins 35-21.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't want to see us give up. We haven't given up more than 21 points a game this year. I think Georgia comes in this game very focused, and I think we take the crowd out early. I'm looking at 42-14.
42-14. Woo. Got you. I don't really do good with the score predictions. I ain't really got a score prediction. I just got Georgia winning and winning very convincingly. So Tennessee, better luck next year. I'm gonna say this.
Well,
And
hey,
I've been wanting to tell you this, TriStar. What was your Alabama score prediction in the beginning of the season? I mean, not score prediction, but record prediction.
I was obviously way off. I said we would be 11-1 with a loss to Georgia.
well,
I just wanted to mess with you.
But I thought we weren't going to miss a beat on offense because I thought it was kind of like a plug and play thing. But
Yeah.
obviously, I was wrong.
Of course. Hey, that's what I tell people. It's 50-50. You know what I'm saying?
it is because we don't know, man. Because listen, I mean, like I said, the players have to make the plays, and any given day you can get your ass handed to you.
Damn right.
They can hand our ass to us this Saturday. It ain't, we're just taking shots and guesses. We don't, I mean, we just go about the stats and the data that we have, and what we see with the eye test. But any damn thing can happen. I know this. We better go into this game focused, and we better take them serious because Tennessee is gonna come out there and they're gonna have everything behind them. I mean, it's just we got to take them out early. We don't.
The worst team to play is a team with nothing to lose.
Well, a team that's nothing to lose and a team that got their feelings hurt the week before. I hate playing a team after they get their ass drugged the week before. I just
because then they're very motivated to have that not happen again.
Exactly. They want to get that bad taste out their mouth. That's what Heupel's been telling them guys all week. This is your chance to get that taste out your mouth. So, I mean,
going on, Waylon?
That's just where it's at, man. But yep. Well, look, fellas, good talking to y'all, man. And,
yes, sir. I appreciate y'all for coming on. TriStar always.
Yeah, no problem.
Same, Pate. Thank you for doing the same, man.
Yep.
And y'all put on a good show. Thank y'all very much.
Oh yeah. Anyways, y'all have a good night. And always fuck the tater, man.
All right, fellas.
Hey, that's his outro every time, bro.
Y'all have a good night. Go motherfucking Dogs.
Yes, sir. Everybody make sure y'all hit that like button for me. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button for me. Eric D. Hey, bro, you be getting hell in the chat tonight. And y'all Georgia fans be getting it right back. Hey, but Eric D, keep that up, baby. Keep that up. Yes, sir. Waylon, I hear you. I hear you, Waylon. But yes, sir. Roll Tide, baby. Roll Tide. Hey, I got some stuff coming for next. I got some stuff coming for next week. I'm actually finna jump outside the SEC for once, and I'm actually having an Ohio State and Michigan guy come on. Damn, appreciate you. Actually having an Ohio State and Michigan guy come on, and of course, I got to do my Alabama versus Auburn. Always got to do it. But yeah, that's what I got coming up. Early recruitment about to come up. So, I'm going to be doing a big dive into the early recruitment. Stuff already been going crazy. And I got a topic. I'm not going to say it on here. But then I want to talk to you about that topic. I'm trying to put together a good panel who can talk about this topic with me. I'm going to talk to Coach Dude as well. And I want you, if you can. But it's a good topic, and I think I know Coach Dude, and you will be able to talk about it with me. So yes, y'all look out for them things that got coming. Appreciate y'all, Georgia fans, Alabama fans, whoever fan. I appreciate all y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Dean Cloud, thank you for tuning in, and everybody else in the chat, thank you for tuning in. Jeff Stapleton, everybody. Like I said, hit that like button before we go out, and Roll Tide, and I'm out, baby.